The much anticipated Daredevil season 2 Born Again is back. We got a lot going on. Wilson Fisk is expanding his control of New York. Obviously, Daredevil steps in, a brutal Daredevil, maybe unlike one we've seen before. And we have the return of an unlikely hero, maybe villain. A lot of side characters going on in here as we got a lot going on with this first episode. This is Minor League Films. We're about to jump into it. Hit that like button, hit that sub button. Got my guy Scotty here to talk about it. Without further ado, let's jump into it. Scotty, we start this episode back, and you know how Daredevil starts. There's no question about it. Somebody is catching the hands at the beginning of the episode. Always starts with an action sequence. We get unveiled a boat that's crossing through New York, and we see the first Daredevil in his all-black, shiny new suit. A sight to be seen. Been waiting on to see that since the promos have dropped. So we have the boat going on called the Northern Star, which, funny enough, you find out if you watch behind the scenes that Charlie Cox has a lot of trouble saying the word Northern or words with an R in it, as he is British. So the Northern Star, this boat is coming through, smuggling guns, and Daredevil says not on his watch, shows up to the boat, and we get our first good action scene. As we know, he's breaking bones, he's tearing people apart. You just know, man, hey, y'all got guns, but I feel bad for y'all.
Yeah, he didn't come to play. Like they start the whole episode off with him breaking everybody in two. And then, like, even the captain, the dialogue between the captain and the first mate, you can still feel how scared everybody is, not just of Daredevil. They're not even scared. We're scared of Mr. Fisk. They know what's going to happen if that boat doesn't get over the other side.
Yeah, so they were informed before that if anything goes wrong with the boat, tank it, obviously have it drown in the river there. So they go to initiate that plan. I just love the action sequence of Daredevil here. Outside of just the bone breaking, it just feels like it feels like if you're gonna do this stealthy night stuff, it's much better to wear this black suit. Like, I love the red suit, and you can get away with it at night, but it's way brighter, so it just feels a little more stealthy in that. But just the action sequences, the way he hears things, I just love the way Marvel shoots. His action sequence in the series, I think, is some of the best that Marvel does in the entire universe, as we have it there. So obviously they go ahead and sink that boat. Daredevil sneakily throws a watch in to keep track of where the guns are going, as he knows if they fall into the river, he can go track them. We move on, see him walk out the river, and Wilson Fisk comes in the next day with his usual cronies, the group he's running with from the first season, saying, hey, this is a terrorist attack, and this ups our level to go against all vigilantes, including Daredevil and Karen Page, as they know that it's helping Daredevil out.
Yeah, and the cronies always funny to me because everybody looks like they belong there, except for the one kid that's like the deputy mayor assistant that comes over there with this nice evil smirk. And every time I see him on screen, I'm like, I don't believe you. I don't believe you. You're the kid that we would slap and take the lunch money from if we were like that. No, you don't belong there. You need to switch over to the other side and help Daredevil and his team out. This isn't for you. But, he's enjoying the money. He belongs in there somewhere in the story. I like his character. I do like his character, but I'm like, yeah, you don't belong on that team.
Yeah, he's a villain in the making, as they have it. Yeah, so you got them going on. Obviously, first thing first, we get back to Daredevil's kind of lair as he got going on. As he's been hiding out, obviously can't go out as Matt Murdock or Daredevil's got to stay concealed. And he's with Karen Page, and come to find out that their relationship is back. They're in a full-on relationship again, which after Karen Page showed up at the end of season 1, and obviously the falling out with Heather Glenn. That's kind of a natural progression of these characters. So we have that going on. We also see Karen training, kind of working on her martial arts. So I want to ask you, the comics very well. Is Karen any kind of action hero? Is that something we should expect in this season? Or is that just something of, it's real life, they're in danger, she should know how to punch somebody in the face?
It's just real life, she's in danger. She was in the comics for quite a while. I don't know when they finally took her out of like the main light of the comics. I can't remember because I was younger, but she wasn't an action hero. But everybody should know how to defend themselves. If you're going to know Daredevil's identity, which you're one of like 17 people in New York that know it. You should know how to fight.
Yeah, well, without no help from the Punisher, who we mentioned won't be back in the season, definitely all hands will be on deck for Daredevil and his team. We move on and we have the introduction of a new character. So obviously the events happen on the boat with Wilson Fisk, and he says, "Hey man, I need my guns, I need my money, I need all that." Bring in the expert, and we have Matthew Lillard, who I did not know was in this season at all. So it was much surprise to me. I didn't check the casting before that, but he plays a guy by the name of Mr. Charles, and they do a nice shot where he calls him on the phone. Matthew Lillard answers, which I was happy about. Hey, he's in Washington D.C., so this feels like this kind of expansion of this kind of underground world as Fisk is running New York, but it kind of has national ties.
Yeah, I mean, Mr. Charles says who he's at least answering to, kind of, which is
Yep.
Fontaine from the Thunderbolts and Civil War and all those other movies. So she's the director behind all that. Who knows what his real name is? I'm thinking that he's not going to be anybody of any significance as far as the books go. I think it's just a brand new character, honestly.
Yeah, because I did ask you that. I was like, hey, is this somebody from the comics? Somebody need to look up. We will see if that is later revealed, but right now he stays as a mystery as Mr. Charles. But what he does do is he knows logistics. He knows how to help Fisk out. So it definitely is a good asset as we're going there because Fisk's trying to run guns. He's like, and they have a good scene there where he's like, hey, like I need my stuff back. He's like, well, man, you can't just run in there and go get it. Like you're going to be on the radar of everyone because that is obvious. Let me do what I do best. I can hire some international people to come in. I can help them and we can get rid of them because no one knows who they are. It'd be very easy. Like he knows what he's doing. So I want to see if him and maybe Daredevil cross paths at some point. Maybe if this leads to Miss Dufontaine coming in and maybe having a cameo in season 2 or season 3 if we get there, or if there's going to be bigger things to play here. But a lot of stuff going on with him. As well, we do have the transformation of another character, Heather Glenn, the least favorite Daredevil girlfriend, as I've heard from the comics. But we had a lot go on with her. So a quick recap, because I was talking to Scotty about this before. At the end of season 1, obviously they had the fallout. She has this thing against vigilantes, which she had even before she was attacked by Muse. Didn't really trust him. Obviously, we know she's dating Matt Murdock / Daredevil. So that is going on. But all the events with Muse that happen where Daredevil does save her life, but she has PTSD clearly also to the fact they break up because Daredevil doesn't want to be with her because she's working with Fisk. Those ties seem to have really taken hold there. She's gone like full evil along with that PTSD she's facing. We have another cameo by the Swordsman, who you mentioned in our last video that we did see in the Hawkeye series. So a lot going on. I want to ask you, what do you think about the progression of her character and her going fully evil?
I don't like her character at all, really. I mean, matter of fact, let me change myself. She's doing a good job of making me not like her because right away it's like all the vigilantes that's helped out New York that she knows about. Like she's a wealthy woman, she's well read, she's educated. Vigilantes have helped. Not all of them have helped, but most of them have helped, even the Punisher. So you do a complete like turnaround this season, just like, you know what? Mr. Duquesne, how was your day? He'll be like, fine. She's writing down, said he wanted to kill me. I'm like, you're going a little overboard. I think you could have progressed it a little bit better. In the first episode, you're already just being a jerk. So it's just a jerk for no reason. Like, what is she gaining out of this? Nothing. What I do like is that she is going through PTSD from that first season when Muse was coming after her. In the books, I don't remember whether she had PTSD or not, but I do know like the relationship with Matt off and on was causing her to struggle mentally. And I do remember she turned and she became an alcoholic. So maybe that's what they're going to get within the show. She'll be an alcoholic. That'll be nice to see. But it'd be nice to see that it progressed to her being a jerk and not just coming in as like, yeah, Mr. Duquesne, you want a cup of coffee? No, I'm okay. Said no. If you give me a cup of coffee, he'll kill me. What? Come on. What is she hearing? She hearing something different than I'm hearing.
Yeah, she had quite the transformation. I love how that scene is shot. I think who's a director, and I could look it up, but they are paying really particular details to scenes and just being able to, without saying a lot or having this dialogue, just show characters are going through transformation and going a little off. As you see when she appears on screen, the camera slightly tilts during that interview, and it's something to know is that like she's not something's off with her, just like the angle is off on your TV set.
Mhm.
So I do like that they are putting those little things in there. But yeah, her interview with Swordsman got very dark very quickly as she says, hey, like, I got to do this interview. And he's like, look, I'm not giving you an interview. One, you're not even agreed upon in with my representation. I'm not doing that. And she says, well, you either give me an interview now or I can have the people outside break all your bones and then I'll come in and we'll do an interview then if you're still alive. And I'm like, oh, Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
This is like you said, there's just nowhere near the character we've seen in season one as far as there's been, and you talked about it, there should be a flashback here somewhere here. Maybe they will flashback with the stuff that she's going through. But I like what they've done with this character so far, and I think there's a lot they can play with in season two, as not having her so much a tie to the hero stuff and maybe what's going on if she just has a shiny new job, but maybe having kind of a good character story in the middle of all this superhero stuff to kind of ground this season two.
Yeah, I mean, I like the way she's. I'd like it better if they do the flashback. I'm hoping they have a flashback, at least one. Give us like a minute or two of her right after Matt got shot in the in that ballroom, and that would be great. That's all I need. Boy, if they don't give us a flashback, am I going to just raise hell? I'm like, why did she do all that? You gotta give me a reason. Did she just go crazy all of a sudden?
Well, they are hinting at clues, and it has been 6 months since the events of before, so she's had a
Yeah.
little time to exactly go crazy. We have a couple more characters showing up, but it's going to take a second here. Let everybody know. Be sure to like that video, hit that sub button if you haven't. We're going to be here all season long. There's 2 episodes of Daredevil next week, which I'm happy they broke them up to give us a little more time to dive in and break them down, and not trying to get everything out in a segment in a small amount of time. So make sure you do that. All right, let's get back to it. So. A couple more characters show up. We have BB Urich, who
Mhm.
interesting character in the first season. So as Ben Urich was killed by Kingpin in way back in Netflix season 1 of
Yep.
Daredevil. So still feeling the results of that. She still feels like she's playing both sides. Obviously, she's friends with the deputy mayor, with Daniel Blake, who is the deputy mayor in this season. Like he became that at the end of last season, played by Michael Gandolfini, which is a very familiar name in acting if you know that. So we have their relationship going. She is playing both sides as you feel. One, she knows Fisk killed her uncle. She's very aware of it. They don't hide that fact. She just doesn't quite know how to get back at him yet. But she still started the line, and you still feel like she still is caring about her friend Daniel Blake and saying, hey, the more you get involved with Fisk, the further you're going to fall in. And she can kind of see him going to that more evil, maybe not evil side, but more of the darker side of where it's like you're going to be fully in the underground world of crime. So I do like her caring for him. There's a couple things going on with her. One, it is established a little later episode that she is working with Karen Page. Obviously, there's a relationship there, and Karen
Mhm.
Page says to her, like, "Hey, like, I understand you want to honor your uncle. The best way to honor him is not to die. So
Yeah.
make sure you watch what you're doing." But also, too, something that we get in the middle episode, which seems kind of random, is a kind of alert from the mass broadcast. So basically, what the mass broadcast is it's kind of a parody on Fist. It's got some guy in a mask who's playing Fist and kind of letting people know, like, hey, I'm trying to stop Daredevil, but I'm also evil and doing everything wrong. And Daredevil's actually trying to be good, be the good person, and actually be a hero. And all my stuff is undercover, but this is something I can't actually say or the news won't talk about. So I wonder her involvement with that. But it's nice to see her character back. And I also, too, we talk about these character stories kind of blending with all this hero stuff, how they progress her and how she, even though she knows the dangers of Fist, still will risk getting close to him. And where will that lead her as far as her safety? And will she actually be able to help take him down?
Yeah, I think she's going to be a big part of the story of at least taking them down through the law, the actual law. Even though Kingpin seems to step all over the law, Constitution, and whatever, I think their stories, especially the way they're using them, it's not just newspaper anymore; it's social media. I think her putting out whatever story she wants to put out, even though she's knowing the truth, and then whoever that is coming in over top of her stuff and pointing out all the flaws and inconsistencies, I think that's going to be a huge part taking him down in the end of the season.
Yeah, I think either she's working with this mass broadcast or she is feeding them information and
Mhm.
having them kind of speak for her. So let's just see how she does that. And if she will utilize just her, I guess she has a little mini doc show or mini
Mhm.
news show. So
Yep.
she actually use that and turn it on Fist. We'll see there. So the main bits of this episode we'll talk about is obviously with the ship. You have a captain and you have a first mate. The ship goes down because Fist told them to drown it. So when they get off there, the hunt is on for them because they know like who and they talk about this right after that in the beginning of the episode. Well, who knew about it? Well, it was Buck, who's also Bullet in the comics. It was Fisk, and it was these two that knew was on the ship. So those two were on the run. And Scotty, we were texting during the show, and I said, "Remind me never to work with Wilson Fisk because even if you do what he wants you to do, you still might not have a happy ending."
Yeah. I mean, no matter what you do, you're going to die. It doesn't matter. Every time someone does anything perfectly, he's like, yeah, they did everything I wanted them to do. Make sure they die by dawn. I'm like, how do people want to work for this dude?
Yeah, not even just die by dawn. Die in a brutal way. This dude is
Yeah.
tortured, and they show glimpses of it. The what is it? The anti-vigilante task force kind of goes after him and finds the I think it's the captain first. So they find him, and then obviously they pull him in, and they're torturing this guy. They're beating him down, and I'm like, man, like, and he's like, look, guys, like I did what you told me to do. I didn't do anything, and they're like, great, glad we know. And Buck comes in and it's like, look, we know you did everything we told you to do. Unfortunately for you, you'll still never see him. And I knew it. He said, look, man, I did what you wanted me to do. All I want to do is go home. Well, fortunately, home for you is the afterlife because he won't be
Yeah.
going home here and shoots him in the head.
And I wonder if Bullet will actually have the same backstory from the comic books. I think he's just like a mercenary from like a different country in the comic books. I'm not sure whether they hinted at his backstory. Maybe he's just a New York City cop. Either way, I think it's fine. Bullet's not a huge character in the books anyway. But yeah, they're just. I mean, I didn't know they're going to kill the dude. I thought they're going to let the dude sit in the chair, and then the English dude, the British dude came in. I forgot the British dude's name. Fist right hand man came in there and was like, hey, man, instead of beating him to death, why don't you just talk to him, ask him some questions? Because in all honesty,
Yeah.
the captain would have answered the questions. He had no reason not to. He thought he's still getting paid and go home.
Yeah,
And Bullet just slapping him around, beating him, cutting off toenails. Like, come on.
yeah, he is the full torture. I do wonder what they will do with the Bullet character. So as far as this show has gone, he basically just seems like a mercenary, a guy Fish could call in and obviously take people out because that's all he ever asked him to do. And
Mhm.
he works, for the mayor office. He don't ask him to do nothing administratively. Hey, can you kill this person for me? Kill that person for me. So, I guess in the comments, I do want to ask. Obviously, his name is Bullet. I feel like in the comments he wears a suit or something. How is that character necessarily different than the one we've got on screen?
Well, he's not wearing a suit like that in comic books. If I remember, I think he just has like on the big black cloak. Let me look up just to make sure the last appearance because I know it was like I haven't seen him since like the early 2000s. Yeah, he just wears a big black jumpsuit
Yeah.
or,
Okay.
or dark blue jumpsuit. He's a really big guy. He's a lot bigger in the books than he is in the show. But I
Yeah.
mean, it's fine. I mean, he did. It's almost the same thing. He's working for Fist in the comic books too. Fist and Typhoid Mary. So then yeah, and he fights Captain America a bunch of times. He fights Daredevil a bunch of times. But he's kind of like one of those. I put him around a hammerhead for Spider-Man. One of those gangster type dudes. Like he comes in, gets his behind whoops, but he puts up a decent fight.
Okay. All right, so that's Bullet. Obviously he kills after he kills the captain. The first mate is the only one kind of left there, and we do get some nice scenes in the middle here with obviously the law office that Matt worked for. Him and the black retired cop. He still knows he's alive, and obviously he only tells him just to keep everyone else safe. But they have some moments there where he's still feeding information. They're going
Mhm.
back and forth, so he does have some outside help there, and obviously the lawyer you get the lawyer off between Mr. Evil and the good lawyer, where he's
Mhm.
he's offering I forget the actress' name, but he's offering her, hey, like come back work for me, we'll match your salary or whatever. And she was
Yep.
like, no, oh, come back work for DA's office. Like, no, I'm doing good work here. All right, well, screw you, and I'll see you later. As
Yeah.
far as that, so we do get a little bit of that, but the kind of harder episode they go after the second first the second person is the first mate, and the anti-vigilante task force finds him. Look,
Mhm.
you know by now that these cops are not good people. Okay,
Yeah.
if they find you, it's not gonna go well for you. Do yourself a favor. Do not go running where no one is. If you
Yeah.
try to escape, go out the front door, go out the front window, whatever you gonna do. Do not go out the back alley where no one can see you because they're gonna
Mhm.
find you and beat the hell out of you as soon as they do.
Every single time. And the dude, the cop walked into like that little restaurant and asked the lady, "Hey, where is he at?" And she's like, "I'm not going to tell you where he's at," and call him a fascist and Greek. And he just looked around. He just backhanded her. I said, "Wow, well, he didn't care who was in there." So Bullet does not care. And
Yeah.
it's obviously real life parallels in the show, just like it was in the book, the Devil's Reign book. Devil Reign's book, obviously much like 100 times this scale, but the same kind of thing. So
Yeah.
it's written exactly the way the book was, almost, as far as like how the characters on Fist side are.
Yeah. No, they are ruthless characters, and that's kind of something they have alluded to. But yeah, so they find the first mate actually, and get him locked up. And Daredevil said, "I got to find this guy. This is the one last piece I have remaining to try to pull some evidence from the ship and see what's going on." So Daredevil himself busts in there, action, and you think like, "Oh man, we've seen this a million times. Daredevil's gonna come in here. He gonna slap some cops around, beat them up, take this guy and go off into the sunset." That does not happen. Kind of
Nope.
shockingly, really. I think it's kind of shocking to the audience. Like Daredevil ends up getting his ass whooped a bit. Like he
Yeah.
gets beat up. There's just too many guys in there he's fighting, and unfortunately, they end up beating him down, and they're able to take his mask off, saying, "Oh, it's Matt Murdock this whole time. We know who this guy is." And Daredevil still has some luck. He still has a little luck on his devil side. And right before they are able to shoot him in the head, we get an unlikely hero back.
hmm
Bullseye comes out with not in person. You don't see him, but his sniper rifle because he don't
Yeah.
miss. Bang, bang, bang. 3 shots, 3 kills. Throws a knife. The knife says, "Thank you. Yeah, you're welcome." It's
And the
Bullseye with
knife,
his signal on it.
the knife curves in the window perfectly and lands right in front of Daredevil. That's why I knew it was Bullseye. At first, I thought, oh, maybe they lied to us. Maybe the Punisher is finally out. But then when I saw the knife, I said, no, that's Bullseye. Nobody else is doing that.
Yeah. Takes him out just in the nick of time. So, Scotty, I want to ask you. Obviously, Bullseye and Daredevil are they're famous nemesis of his story. Obviously, outside the Kingpin, which maybe is a little more Spider-Man in the comic book world. But Bullseye helping Daredevil out here. We know what went on with season 1. Obviously, he felt screwed over by both Fisk, Vanessa, that whole squad. So that would give him some reason to help Daredevil out. But what role do you think he's going to play in this season 2? Because that is not something you probably expected walking into this season.
I didn't expect that, but I think the role is going to be just what we saw. I think he's not going to be friends with anybody in the show, but his goal is to go after Fisk and make him miserable. And Daredevil is obviously doing the same thing. So, you know what they say, keep your friends close, enemies closer. It's one of those things. I think Bullseye's going to help him out a little bit. I don't think they're going to really meet up except for maybe one time. And Daredevil probably won't accept his help because he killed Foggy. He's probably not going to accept his help. Bullseye is going to be helping him anyway from behind the scenes.
Yeah, and that was going to be my next question. We've gotten a lot of fight sequences with there. We know Daredevil is famous for the kind of hallway-ish fight sequences that they've done in pretty much every iteration, every season of it. Are we ever going to get that Bullseye Daredevil team up fight sequence as they go through and take out Fist Men and maybe fight some guys?
We probably will get one. I don't know if it's going to be as epic as that, but if Bullseye is in the fight, it's going to be epic anyway. The way Marvel uses this Bullseye, it is the way you should be, because he's picking up anything and everything around him and using it, and Daredevil punching and kicking around him. I think they'll coordinate each other very well. I just think I don't see them having that many conversations in here since he did kill Daredevil's friend 6 months ago. But
Yeah.
I do think they'll be having the same goal, and I don't think Bullseye is going to be trying to kill Daredevil at all. Because if he wanted to kill Daredevil, he could have killed him in the ballroom, could have killed him just then,
Or let him die.
or let him die.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I think every fan is going to be, even other show, even not even comics watch, just casual watch, is going to want that kind of team up fight. So I think we will get it in some capacity. Obviously, we know Jessica Jones will be somewhere around in this season. She's confirmed, saw her in the trailer. Still for the hope of Luke Cage maybe showing up, or Iron Fist as well showing up. So at some capacity in the season would be nice, as the Punisher will not be. But overall, I think they do a lot of good things in this first episode. Obviously, you see that struggle and some level of behind the scenes. I listened to the podcast right after this. It's kind of been, Matt Murdock and I was going to say Heather Glenn,
Yeah,
Paige, kind of Paige going after Fist, and they're kind of slashing at it little by little. Definitely not Heather Glenn, but been slashing it at it little by little. So you kind of see that struggle. It's good to see them kind of keep their composure, but you understand the struggle that they're going with, and just kind of the whole Fist is getting on the season. And it's fully progressed now to the point where he has almost national ties. So very interesting to see what they're going to do in this season, and how they break that down, and how they overcome Fist, and maybe with some help from some outside sources. We know Jessica Jones will be showing up, so it is very much needed. But for the first episode, glad they only dropped one, because I felt like there was a lot of setup and a lot of action at the same time, and a lot of payoff. This is a fully priced admission episode for me. Had a lot of fun with it. I like this episode, and I'm interested to see what happens next week.
Yeah, same for me. Fully priced admission. I didn't have any complaints. It's a nice episode, nice beginning. Of course, ended perfectly with Bullseye coming in there. I'm sure the next episode is going to start with Daredevil being pissed off that Bullseye is even there in the first place. But eventually he's going to have to come around and say, okay, this guy's going to help me whether I want him to or not, because he wants to get Fist. But we'll see. We'll see how Daredevil is also, because we saw how ruthless he was in this season already, this first episode. We'll see how he reacts to Bullseye just killing everybody that gets in their way. We'll see how that dynamic works.
Yeah, and I'm interested to see how much time do we get with Bullseye, and on his side, do we get a Bullseye action sequence, just him by himself sneaking up and kind of camera following him? I think that would be a cool addition to kind of add in here. But a lot, as I said before, Smiley Films, go ahead and hit that like button, hit that sub button if you haven't before. Comment down below. Let me know what you think about this first episode. Things going on. What you think about Bullseye and that ending? That was a pretty shocking one, and the return of his character in here. And overall, a lot of these characters, what characters are you most interested in? For me right now, I want to see the Heather Glenn story. I like that a lot. I want to see how they portray that. And also, too, I know Matthew Lillard, who's kind of crazy in here. That was the one thing with him coming in here, is like he almost does, with his mannerism, he almost kind of doesn't fit this world. But he's also good when he's not doing that. So I'm like, yeah, I like him. I just wish he would cut that out. But the second thing will obviously be Daredevil and Bullseye. I want to see a fight sequence with both of them on the same side. I think that would be cool. Are you looking for anything?
So far I'm looking forward to. I know Jessica Jones is here. Karen Page talked to her in the episode. I really am hoping they actually give us a well-written Iron Fist to come in here towards the end. That's what I'm hoping for. A well-written Iron Fist, or a well-written third heroic character. It doesn't have to be Iron Fist, that comes in here to help them along with Jessica Jones. That's what I'm hoping for.
Eyes out for Luke Cage and Iron Fist. That's all we got. Make sure to hit that like button again. Scotty, people aren't on YouTube and they want to find us at other places. Where can they do that at?
You can find us on mlfshorts on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. Minor League Films on everything else, and Chrono Comics on TikTok.
Yeah, everything will be down in the bio. Again, we got a couple episodes coming out next week. Obviously, Invincible drops at midnight tonight, so we'll be talking about that. That episode will be up shortly, along with a bunch of Spider-Man content and comic book content, as you're looking forward to it. So all that good stuff, hit that like button one more time for me if you haven't, and we will catch you next time.